Hi gorgeous lights, welcome to the first day of the new year. I've been talking to Spirit all morning and it's been really lovely actually, just really listening to kind of paying attention to what's actually happening with collective consciousness as well. And it's really interesting because I do think that we kind of get hit with this whole New Year's resolution. Are we setting a New Year's resolution? What are we doing? How are we turning up for ourselves? But the collective as a whole is in a little bit of a contemplation energy. So I've been talking a lot to Spirit about these refocusing energy that we're actually coming into. And for a lot of people, they're already entering this. For a lot of people, they're also entering mastery of self, which is their emotional equilibrium within yourself. Paying attention to that all your thoughts are creative thoughts, and whatever you're thinking, no matter how random, has the ability to go out and be created in the universe. And we need to be more mindful than what we're doing, because for me, inside of people's heads is like ping pong. I keep saying a pinball machine, just stuff going everywhere, and that's what goes on in people's heads, as their thoughts are random and all over the place. So it's kind of interesting to just watch this happen in collective consciousness. Now, also, Spirit have been talking to me and saying that they're going to give me a word a day in a vain attempt to get me to put more information out there for people in the best possible way. And the word that they're giving it at the moment is a very focus on the fact that we are getting really frustrated, and we seem to get very frustrated with other people's behaviours. But what we don't realise is other people are behaving, it might be annoying, but they're behaving exactly the way that they need to behave, and you're the one that's actually getting frustrated by it. So it is a need for you to actually do some inner calm, some inner reflection, and some inner understanding that if you're getting frustrated, you're actually taking responsibility for how another person turns up. And it's their responsibility for how they actually turn up. So it's really important that we kind of step back a little bit and actually see what's actually going on. You are the centre of your own universe, 100%. And how you turn up and what you do, yes, it has an impact on other people. But the major impact, so within, so without, is actually dealing with yourself inside your own mind, and the way that you treat yourself is crucial in this refocusing energy. So they have given me the word, which I'm getting to as I'm blathering at you, unapologetic. Now, I had a discussion with them about this as well, and I'm interested how they've all linked in as we actually process through this. And I said to them, look, we did Unapologetic, like 10 years ago in the new age, when everybody said, oh, I'm just going to say exactly what's on my mind. And Spirit said, no, that's not unapologetically being you. That's giving yourselves permission to actually be as rude as you possibly can and tell yourself that you're being honest. There's a really big difference between unapologetically you and rude. And we actually all know who and what is about being rude. Basically, we've all had those moments where we've just gone, do you know what, I'm so frustrated, I'm just going to go blah, and really hurtful things actually come out of our mouths. If whatever actually comes out of our mouths, we do actually have to live with, because that is our perception. And the way that Spirit explains it is, you can have 15 people and they can be standing looking at a painting, and they will notice, everyone will notice something different. There might be degrees of commonality as people notice maybe the tree or the horse or whatever is in there, but there still will be things that are noticed by, varying degrees by the whole group. And I think probably a lot to do with our version of being unapologetic actually falls into this category. I have a lot of people, and I have had a lot of people over the years, and I talked to Spirit about this morning, say, well, I'm kind of a blunt, direct person. I can handle it. Why can't other people handle it? Well, they can't. They're completely different from you. And it isn't that you turn up and be rude. It's not about that. When you're unapologetically you are wisdom, you are compassion, you are honourability, you are authenticity. That's unapologetically you. And it's really interesting, because I had a discussion with Spirit about this, and I said to Spirit, well, there was huge parts of my childhood and throughout my life where I actually didn't feel that I could turn up and say that I was who I am, or what I'm able to see or do, or any of those things that fall into in the intuitive nature of the way that I live. And I said, does that mean that I wasn't apologetically turning up as myself? And they're like, absolutely not. You were turning up to make it more comfortable for other people, and therefore making it uncomfortable for yourself. So I'd kind of like you to have a think about that. When we say, do you cushion yourself for other people? Do you try not to rock the boat? Do you seek peace but don't get a peaceful existence because people don't give it to you? There's a lot of things that go on when we're not unapologetically ourselves. And I think there's a degree of uncomfortability that has to be experienced with this, because you're so used to being guarded, hiding parts of yourself away, not wanting to be judged, not wanting to be criticized. But all of those things have a massive impact on you within that stops you having the freedom, the guides are saying, to be yourself and unapologetically go, I actually really like who I am. I like how I turn up. Now, I got caught with this very, very recently when someone asked me what I did for a living, and I felt this amazing surge of uncomfortability because showing up in this person's aura was complete unacceptance of the fact that I would say that I'm an intuitive, that I might see people that don't live anymore, or I might know things about you that might not make you feel 100% comfortable, but I have a discernment. Now that's different, a discernment to say that I will share or not share. That's my discernment and my authenticity, looking at where people's comfort zones are, where their level of acceptance is, and that sort of thing. Or so I thought, until Spirit said, you're not being unapologetically yourself. And I said, well, I'm trying to be as compassionate as I can, as helpful as I can, have good discernment, good boundaries, all those sort of things. And they said, yes, but what is below that is the acceptance of your own self from yourself that says, I'm perfectly okay to actually turn up and say, this is who I am, and not be attached to an outcome, attached to a response from somebody else, whether it be good, bad, indifferent, or whatever. There's issues that you have around there. So it made me think deeper this morning about unapologetically yourself, because there's actually quite a bit to be unwrapped to do with that. And I do think it's about surrendering to the process. I do think it's about thinking about all the spaces where you turn up because you're actually wanting to cushion something, or make an excuse for something, or not have to deal with the drama of something. But if you grew up, and this is something that Spirit pointed out as well, if you grew up in a parental environment or a sibling environment where you had dramatic people around you, then quite often you have a fear of things blowing up and becoming dramatic if you do say what you think, or you do say your opinion, or you do own a different belief system from someone else. And I think that we've got really, really cloaked or smothered, if you like, by all this perceptual understanding that it's not okay for you to have an opinion. However, I would like to point something out, that very opinionated people love to have their opinion and completely have their opinion without considering that you have an opinion either. And you know what? That's exactly how they're going to turn up. It isn't about navigating through how other people turn up, or what they're going to say, or how they're going to react, and thinking I have to cushion this all the time, or I have to be guarded about this all the time. It's a little bit about doing an internal negotiation first, and actually saying to yourself that I give myself permission and I give myself freedom to understand that I'm allowed to be who I am, and I do not have to see myself through another person's eyes. This is something that Spirit is very, very adamant around, is that in this refocusing energy, there is going to be a lot of potentiality for uncomfortable situations, because the universe is going to put you in uncomfortable situations in order for you to see areas of your life where you're tuning up and it does not serve you, where you might have relationships that are not reciprocal and it does not serve you, where you're bending over backwards in an intimate relationship trying to make it work, and that does not serve you as well, because your focus then is all external. What is that person doing? What is that person thinking? What is that person behaving like? What if it's all about them? There's no room for you in that equation unless you're actually saying, what about me? Where do I fit in this? And am I considering what's truthfully important to me and my authenticness of turning up as truthfully, unapologetically me? That says that I'm okay and I don't have to weigh up all these other things, because they're playing me the song, and I think the song's from the 80s, and it says, what about me? It isn't fair. I've had enough and I want my share. So I'm saying at the moment there's a tremendous amount of really, really frustrated people out there going, people don't reciprocate what I do to them. They don't do this, they don't do that, they don't do that. Great. They're tools from the universe. They're gifts from the universe. You either turned up around that person in a certain way that gave that person the impression that you wanted to turn up in this way, because you never put a boundary in place and you never said clearly what suited you, or you and you program people that way, or that in thinking to keep the peace, it's basically given the other people permission to do exactly the way that they want to, because they thought that you were never bothered by it. There's a whole raft of a minefield of misunderstanding that can actually happen with this. So the word unapologetic is kind of something that they really want you to consider, because do you apologize for who you are? Are you one of those people pleaser people that say, oh my God, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, when you haven't actually done anything wrong? So Spirit has kind of been hammering me around this really over the last week, around what you smother that you don't say, but then is retained in you and becomes frustration, where you're focusing too much on how somebody else is behaving around you. Now, if somebody else is behaving badly around you, you've got two choices. You can actually take responsibility for the way that they're behaving, and get really annoyed and really flustered about it and really responsible for everything that they're doing. Or you can actually go, I completely honour that that person needs to turn up that way, and I'll use discernment and move myself away from this equation so that I can refocus on myself and what I'm doing and leave them to be who they are, or else I'm expecting them to turn up by my own standards. And the bottom line is frequency can only match frequency. We've got frequencies going on at the moment that are teaching you where things don't serve you. And if you're elevating up in frequency, you'll find that those lower frequencies or lower vibe people that won't change or won't do anything do not suit you anymore. And you're doing an evolutionary process. You're also working on master yourself. We're refocusing. The collective consciousness having a reflection time, and there's a lot going on. The best person that you can actually look after in this period of time is unapologetically yourself. And I just really want you to have a think about that for the energy coming into this year. You sit down and say, where do I give myself the freedom and the permission to unapologetically be myself without making excuses for myself, without saying, oh, I was having a bad day today, sorry about that, I hope I didn't offend you. Stop all of that, because that is disempowering you from the amazing, unique, incredible being that you are. And I say it all the time, you're as unique as your fingerprints. You are supposed to be turning up uniquely as you. The world would be a sadder place without you in it if you weren't uniquely you. It's time to look at uniquely being you and interacting with other people, sure, with care. I 100% say that, but on it unapologetically going, well, I do have an opinion about that, and no, I'm not happy with that. I don't feel that feels fair for me. Here's what's fairer for me. And I'm finding, and Spirit has said that to me repeatedly, people are going to tell you that you're selfish, and I'm like, oh, crikey. And they said, it's because if you have given too much of yourself and people have got used to you giving too much of yourself, then as you pull back and say, I need to give to myself a little bit more, remembering you can't give from an empty cup, that people so used to you turning up in a different way will be a little bit rebellious about what you're doing. Don't apologise for that. You're allowed to look after you. The more you look after you, the more people will respect that. This time of change, people, it seriously is. And it is time to actually look to your inner gnosis, that you will lose faith in things on the outside of you, to regain faith in the way that you feel, the alignment, so within, so without, your thoughts, your words, your heart in alignment. This is authentically you, and we are entering this process regardless. So the more that you can work it out, the more you can work with you, the more you can trust you, and the more you be you, the better off that you're going to be. Take care of you.